Well, as always, we can start with just marveling that we're here and acknowledging that it is, it is hard to get here. I don't think to say it can be acknowledges you know, relative inevitability that it's hard to move these bodies. They're really committed to conserving energy. Our bodies and our brains are really committed to conserving energy. So when and if you notice, relative resistance, that's working. It's working. It's working. Your body's efforts to conserve energy. So we have a practice um, that we've been weaving in over the course of the last year, especially the monthly mindfulness groups use this structure called the 10 perfections of the heart, or the paramis. And these practices, sometimes parami is translated as perfection, sometimes as beautification or cleansing. And they are said to be these practices that allow the heart to remain open and the mind clear. And one of them is energy. And the the energetic balance that I think we're all happiest with is the one that it is focused on. So managing energy as a way to clear the mind and open the heart. And we need to both nurture and nourish our energy. So maybe you use a little caffeine to do that in the morning, or water, or meditation practices or movement practices, um, fresh air, nature, interactions with other people. These are all ways that we can nourish or nurture our energy, kind of alert our bodies to be awake and alert. So maybe with our foundations practice now, we can start with just a little bit of that, bringing awareness and alertness into the body with just some movement. So it can be extending and curling the fingers, maybe same for the toes. Could be bending and straightening the elbows or knees or both. I'm sitting on a yoga ball, so straightening my knees means that I'm also kind of rocking my pelvis. Rocking the pelvis is probably one of the most helpful movements to do relatively regularly. The pelvis is the crossroads between the spine and the abdomen and the hips and the legs. So rocking back and forth. Maybe you can feel the bony protrusions at the bottom of the pelvis, and see if you can roll back behind them, kind of sit back on your tail. Your belly gets probably compressed, your shoulders probably round, and you do that, and then get up in front of them where you kind of stick your butt out back behind you, and maybe your chest comes forward. Good. So we're nurturing our energy by bringing some alertness and some awareness and some movement through the body. Good. And then all around the rib cage. So side bend to either side, maybe a little exploration of the diagonals or the corners. So you can kind of move your heart up towards one corner and then the other, maybe twist back behind. If more fluid movement seems more interesting, you can circle your rib cage around your legs in one direction and then in the other. Okay, if there's any other movement that your body's asking for, take a moment or so to indulge. And then slow down. Maybe even allow there to be some stillness. And soften all around your eyes, your jaw, and give your body the cue that this now is a time where you don't have to express anything, you don't have to respond. You also don't have to actively be looking and taking things in. So, not only do we, in order to clear the mind and the heart, nurture or nourish our energy, but we also protect it. So, we protect our energy via our senses. So, again, by either closing or just softening and dropping the eyes, you can enact this strategy. And yoga is an action, yoga is a strategy. So, we do this thing, the simple thing of lowering the gaze to protect our energy. Maybe you've noticed already, and maybe you want to look for and encourage the breath to grow in this container that you've got. Maybe you're a little more clear about where the edges of the rib cage are as you've been breathing. And let's do a few cycles of the Samavriti, the even measured breath, just to remind our system and to anchor our attention to that energetic balance that comes when the breath is balanced. So, equal length, equal depth if you can, equally amplified or quieted sound. Use as many aspects of the breath as you have as you have access to or as you need to really hold your attention and your interest. And as we turn our attention to the breath, we're revealing what's called the pranamaya kosha. It's the energy measured aspect of our experience. So the breath holds so much potential and so much information for us about our energy. Good. Notice for a moment the balance and the energetic qualities that are suggested and supported by the inhalation. Maybe you feel the upward moving, expansive quality. Maybe you notice the coolness of the air as it comes in. Maybe you feel a little more activated. And then the balance is the exhalation, downward moving, softening. Body contracts, gets a bit smaller. maybe a little heavier. And then I'd like to ask you to consider choosing a couplet. Maybe it's light and dark, maybe it's up and down, maybe it's light and heavy, maybe it's out and in. One of those that either I offered in describing the energetic of the breath, or maybe a pair that you found. And then weave that into the movement of your breath and your awareness of it. So, for example, if you were to use light and heavy, you might say to yourself in your mind as you inhale light, exhale heavy. Okay, so take a minute or so to find and to work with those words describing the energetics that you're noticing as you're breathing in, as you're breathing out. And then let's reinforce our position in the midst of, at the center of, as the fulcrum in that movement back and forth with a simple vibration. So you might use Om, and you may whisper it, you may say it in your mind, you may say it aloud. You may simply use the hum, hum, hum. You may use a mantra we've used before, which is so hum, hum, which means I am or I'm here. So instead of the up and down or in and out or light and dark, now the here, here, here. And maybe even then you bring your hands to your belly or to your heart so that you can not only generate and feel that vibration from within, maybe you hear it if you're saying it aloud, but you can also feel it as your breastbone or your belly move as you breathe, maybe vibrate a bit as you hum, hum, hum. Clear mind, an open heart, as energy both nurtured. You might allow yourself to just acknowledge if there is an image or an idea that arises in the mind as we suggest that energy can and should be nurtured. And then also protected. Okay, please continue like that all day long. all lifelong. Notice inhale, exhale, and at the balance. And if there is anything that you did notice that came up around nurturing your energy or protecting your energy, if you would take a moment to maybe write it down, maybe just pause and repeat it to yourself. This is the way that our body knows how and what to do, what needs to be done in order to maintain this balance that's possible. So you may not actually do or not do the thing that your mind has realized that you maybe could do or not do to better protect and nourish your energy. But this is the process of acknowledging, developing awareness, and then being with breath and the energy as you do. So thank you again on behalf of all of us here and all beings between us. For your practices. I hope you have a fulfilling and luminous day. And I'll be back on the mat in another few minutes for posture practice if you'd like to join. And then I will see a couple of you for our group tomorrow morning. And then I am off on a legitimate, unscheduled, with no responsibilities vacation for a couple of weeks. So the Monday morning meditation, our precious Maggie has generously agreed to facilitate. So please continue with Monday mornings at 8 a.m. on behalf of all of us. And thank you for being here when I'm not. And then I'll be back the 1st of December and we'll onward from there. Okay, thank you. See you soon.